The ancient Egyptians believed that when you died, your heart was placed on a scale. On the other side sat a single feather, the feather of Mayat, goddess of truth and cosmic order. If your heart was heavier than the feather, a monster with the head of a crocodile and the body of a lion would devour your soul. Eternal oblivion. But here's what the textbooks do not tell you. The real question is not whether you would survive the afterlife. It is whether you would survive a single day. I am standing in Thebes, 1250 BC, the greatest city of the ancient world. Its population exceeds London in the time of Shakespeare. Its temples are the largest structures ever built by human hands. And in the next 24 hours, I am going to show you exactly what would happen to you here. Not the Egypt of pharaohs and gold, the Egypt of your actual body on an actual Tuesday in the year Rameses the Great sits on the throne. You would not make it to sunset. You wake before dawn, not by choice, by noise. Thebes has no concept of silence. The city contains roughly 80,000 people packed into mud brick houses that climb the east bank of the Nile in layers, like a termite mound made of human beings. The walls are so thin you hear your neighbor's argument from 3 houses away. The roosters start at the first hint of light. The donkeys do not wait for the roosters. Your house is 3 rooms. You share it with 6 people. There is no furniture beyond a wooden stool and a raised sleeping platform. The floor is packed earth. When it rains, and it does rain, rarely but violently, the floor turns to mud. You sleep in mud. This is not poverty. This is middle class. Thebes is the administrative, religious, and economic heart of the Egyptian empire. It is also, by modern standards, a humanitarian disaster. The streets are open sewers. Human waste flows downhill toward the river. The same river that provides every drop of drinking water for 80,000 people. The smell is the first thing that hits you. It is not one smell, it is layers. The bottom layer is human waste and animal dung. Above that, the smoke from 10,000 cooking fires burning dried donkey manure because wood is too expensive to import. Above that, the sharp chemical tang of the tanneries along the riverbank, where animal hides are soaked in vats of fermented urine to remove the hair. You process leather with urine in 1250 BC because nobody has invented a better chemical. And above all of that, the faint sweetness of rotting offerings left at temple doorsteps overnight. Food for the gods, breakfast for the flies. You are thirsty. This is a problem. The Nile is 200 meters from your door. The water looks clean. It is not clean. Upstream, a farmer is washing his donkey in the same water. Further upstream, a tannery is discharging its urine vats. And everywhere along the banks, people are using the river as a toilet because that is what the river is for. If you drink this water without boiling it, and you will not boil it because fuel is too precious, you are swallowing a biological cocktail that includes the larvae of the schistosoma flatworm. It will burrow through your intestinal wall and live in your blood vessels for the rest of your life. It will cause chronic fatigue, organ failure, and eventually death. 65% of the population carries it. Nobody knows it exists. They think the symptoms are curses from enemies or displeased gods. So you do not drink the water. You drink beer. Everyone drinks beer. The children drink beer. The beer is thick, cloudy, mildly alcoholic, and made from the same sand-filled bread that has already begun grinding down your teeth since childhood. By the time you are 30, your molars will be worn flat to the gum line. The exposed nerves will abscess. There is no dentistry. There is a paste made from crushed ants, honey, and ground eggshell. Breakfast is bread. Lunch will be bread. Dinner will be bread soaked in beer. You are not hungry because you do not know what being full feels like. This is normal. If you are a man in Thebes, your day depends entirely on your class. There is no social mobility. The job your father did is the job you will do. Your son will do it after you. If you are a scribe, you wake and walk to the temple administrative complex. You will spend the day recording grain deliveries, tax payments, and court proceedings on papyrus or broken pottery shards. You are among the 3% of Egyptians who can read and write. This makes you elite. It also ruins your spine. Scribes in Egyptian art are always shown sitting cross-legged, and their skeletons show exactly the spinal degeneration you would expect from that posture maintained for decades. If you are a farmer, you leave the city before dawn to walk to your fields in the floodplain. Your tools are a wooden plow tipped with a sharpened stone. You do not own the land. The temple owns the land. You give the temple roughly 30% of everything you grow. The rest feeds your family. If the Nile flood is too low one year, your family does not eat. If the flood is too high, your house washes away. The difference between survival and starvation is roughly 1 meter of river level. If you are a craftsman, a carpenter, a jeweler, a stone carver, you work in a workshop attached to a temple or a noble estate. Your materials are provided. Your output belongs to your patron. You are paid in bread, beer, and occasionally cloth or oil. You will never be wealthy, but you will not starve as long as the temple granaries are full. If you are a woman, your legal rights are surprisingly extensive. You can own property in your own name. You can initiate divorce. You can testify in court. You can run a business. A woman named Ipu, who lived in Thebes during this period, owned several weaving workshops and employed both men and women. Her tax records survive, but your primary social value is still measured in children. A woman who dies in childbirth is mourned as a warrior mourned, because roughly 1 in 20 births kills the mother. The Egyptians have a goddess specifically for women who die in childbirth. Her name is Ipi. She has her own temple in Thebes. It is always busy. The Egyptian legal system was built on a concept called Ma'at, cosmic order, balance, truth. It is not just a legal principle. It is the force that holds the universe together. The Nile floods because of Ma'at. When something goes wrong, a crop failure, a plague, a military defeat, the explanation is that Ma'at has been disrupted. This means that crime is not just a violation of law, it is a violation of reality itself. The punishments reflect this. If you steal from a temple, your nose is cut off. You are then exiled to a military colony on the Nubian frontier, where you will spend the rest of your life as a soldier in a desert garrison. The nose removal is not just cruelty. It marks you permanently as someone who broke Ma'at. Everyone who sees your face for the rest of your life knows what you did. If you are caught robbing a tomb, and tomb robbing is a serious problem in Thebes because the Valley of the Kings is right across the river. The punishment is impalement, a stake driven through the body. Death takes hours. It is done publicly outside the city gates so that everyone can see what happens to those who disturb the dead. If you commit adultery, the courts may order you to be beaten with a rod. 100 strokes is a common sentence. For a woman accused of adultery, the punishment can include cutting off the nose or ears. For a man, forced divorce and loss of property. The double standard exists. Ma'at does not mean equality, but here's what surprises people. The Egyptian legal system has due process. You get a trial before a panel of judges, usually priests or senior scribes. You can call witnesses. You can present evidence. Court records from Thebes show cases where defendants were acquitted because the evidence was insufficient. One case involves a man accused of stealing a goat. He brought 3 neighbors who testified that the goat was his. The judges ruled in his favor. The goat went home. This is 1250 BC. This is not chaos. This is one of the most sophisticated legal systems in the ancient world. It is also brutal, unforgiving, and occasionally arbitrary. Both things are true at the same time. It is now mid-afternoon. The temperature has passed 40 degrees. You have been awake for 10 hours. You have eaten bread with sand. You have drunk beer that is more grain than liquid, and something in your stomach does not feel right. You go to a physician. The physician in Thebes is not a witch doctor. He is a trained professional who has studied the medical papyri, scrolls that catalog diseases, symptoms, and treatments in systematic detail. The Ebers Papyrus, which dates to roughly 1550 BC but contains material much older, is one of the most important medical documents in human history. It describes the circulatory system with surprising accuracy. It notes that the heart is connected to vessels that pulse with blood. It catalogs hundreds of drugs and remedies. It also recommends the following. For a splinter, apply a poultice of worm blood and donkey dung. For a burn, apply a mixture of milk from a woman who has given birth to a son, gum from the acacia tree, and ram's hair. For blindness caused by a film over the eye, mix honey with the brain of a turtle and pour it directly into the eye. The physician examines you. He may take your pulse. He may inspect your eyes and tongue. He will almost certainly prescribe a treatment that involves at least one ingredient you do not want inside your body. The survival rate for most conditions is not high, but here is the part that genuinely shocks modern researchers. Egyptian physicians performed surgery. We have skulls from Thebes that show trepanation, holes drilled into the skull to relieve pressure from head injuries, with evidence of bone regrowth around the edges. This means the patient survived. They cut a hole in someone's head with a copper drill, and that person lived to grow new bone. We do not know if they used any anesthetic beyond beer. We do know that the procedure carried roughly a 70% mortality rate from infection alone. Egyptian medicine is simultaneously centuries ahead of its time and absolutely terrifying. You hope you do not need it. Night falls fast near the equator. There is no twilight. One moment the sun is setting over the western cliffs, painting the temples gold. The next moment it is dark, and dark in Thebes means dark. There is no street lighting, no windows. Most houses have one oil lamp, a wick burning in a bowl of salted animal fat that produces a dim, flickering yellow light and a greasy smoke that coats the ceiling. The streets empty after sunset, not by law, by instinct. The Nile at night belongs to crocodiles. The Egyptian crocodile, Crocodilus niloticus, it grows to 5 meters and regards humans as prey. Modern estimates suggest crocodiles killed roughly 1,000 Egyptians per year in antiquity. The number is speculative. The fear is not. The crocodile god Sobek has temples in every major city, including Thebes. People pray to Sobek not for blessings. They pray to Sobek to leave them alone. Other things move in the dark. Scorpions. The Egyptian deathstalker scorpion's sting causes paralysis, respiratory failure, and death within hours. There is a professional scorpion charmer in every district of the city whose job is to treat stings with a combination of herbal remedies and magical incantations. He is very busy. Cobras hunt the rocky paths that lead out of the city toward the desert cliffs. Snakes in general are so pervasive that the Egyptians have a specific spell in the Book of the Dead designed to protect the deceased from being bitten by snakes in the afterlife. They were so afraid of snakes they brought that fear with them into eternity. And then there is the crime. Thebes after dark belongs to those who operate outside Mayat. Grave robbers, thieves. The city has no police force. Wealthy households employ private guards. Everyone else relies on neighbors, dogs, and the hope that whatever moves in the alley is just a cat. You do not go out at night in Thebes unless you have no choice. You sit in your 3-room house with your family. You listen to the donkeys. You watch the oil lamp flicker. And you wait for dawn, which will bring the same bread, the same beer, the same heat, and the same grinding, beautiful, terrifying ritual of staying alive in the greatest city the ancient world ever built. 3,200 years separate you from the Thebes I have described. But the people who lived there were not fundamentally different from you. They worried about their children. They complained about their neighbors. They fell in love. They wrote poems. An Egyptian love poem from this period found on a broken piece of pottery in Thebes reads, "I shall lie down within my house as if I were sick. My neighbors will come to visit me, and my beloved will come with them. She will make the physicians laugh, for she alone knows my sickness." That is 1250 BC. That is someone who was lovesick and wrote it down on a piece of trash because papyrus was too expensive. That fragment survives. That person's feeling, the same feeling you have had, survived the collapse of their civilization, the rise and fall of Rome, the Dark Ages, the Industrial Revolution, and the invention of the internet to reach you right now. The Egyptians believed that you died twice. The first death was the death of the body. The second death was the death of your name, the last time anyone spoke it aloud. That is why they carved names into stone. That is why they built monuments that would last forever. They were fighting the second death, and here we are, still speaking their names, still walking their streets in our minds, still finding their love poems on broken pottery. They would have wanted it this way. If you want to walk the streets of Thebes again, or any other lost city of the ancient world, subscribe. We rebuild what time buried.